Welcome to the Startup Grind.
There's a couple things that I wanted to talk to you about, but I always want to know, with a sort of creative startup like this, when you visualize the perfect expression of your product, like this is what I want to see happen with this, it's the ideal case, if all my dreams come true, is SoundCloud now what you envisioned it would be when you first realized I'm going to dedicate my life to building this?
I think that what it is today is in some ways further than we imagined from the start, and also further behind, like in a weird way. I think like when we started, we really thought that it would be something at tremendous scale that could work for anybody like in the world, and we obviously have a long way to go before we get there, but I think we didn't quite understand what that scale meant at that point. So
yeah, but I mean, with 750 million users, you didn't really plan.
180 million. 180
Oh,
million.
I mean, with that scale, but you didn't plan for that initially when you started to launch it.
No, but I think we planned for something for it to be, you know, a main piece of the web, but we just didn't understand the scale of those numbers at all. Like we were like, yeah, you know, lots of people will be using this, but then once the numbers become real, you get a different kind of you know, a different kind of feel for how much people that actually is. I mean, when we think about the 180 figure, like, you know, 8% of the internet, I love to think about that as like being 20 times the size of Sweden. So, you know, it's 20 times the size of the country where I grew up. And that sort of like just puts things in perspective. And we didn't understand like that scale in the beginning at all. But I think, you know, there's still, in terms of the perfect expression of, you know, how it could or how it should work, what I love about what we do is that there's not a clear sort of end point of like where it ends. Like I really believe that sound is, you know, no matter if it's music, laughter, talks, conversations, speeches, like it's basically something that works really well in bringing people closer to each other. Like, you know, music, it's a hugely emotional thing. Like like we even, you know, go into rooms, listen to music, and like move around together. Like it's really weird behavior. We do all these like funny things around sound, and I think it's something that brings people closer. And for me, that's part of like what, you know, what's awesome about the internet at large is that it also has the possibility of bringing people closer. So on an abstract level, I think like what we're doing is always looking at ways of how people can have closer, more meaningful relationships through sound as sort of the connector. And that can happen or can happen in many different ways. And, you know, we can think 2 years ahead, and there are a lot of things that we can do to make that more real. We can think 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead, 20 years ahead. Like, it doesn't really end. Like, you can always keep making that better. So I think that's fun because the end game of the perfect expression of it keeps constantly changing based on like where the web is at today. Like how many people are online, what are the technologies available, like what's the latest things that we can do with audio in a browser, for instance. So it keeps changing, but that's ultimately like what we're looking for.